Test. Test. Ja, zijn jullie er klaar voor? Iedereen heeft lekker gegeten? Hij heeft lekker gegeten. Hij heeft er zin in. Dus ik zou het heel leuk vinden wanneer ik hem aankondig dat jullie hem een zeer warm welkom geven, zodat de dak eraf gaat. Voilà. Ik ga heel even wachten. Zijn jullie er klaar voor? Dan wil ik graag een heel warm welkom voor niemand minder dan Spartacus, McIntyre!
So who was here yesterday? So I can't use all my own material, that's annoying. Okay. Is everyone feeling good? Yeah. Excellent, that's good, just checking. How is F.A.C.T.S going so far? Is it great? Yeah. Yes? What's the highlight? All at once, come on, tell me. What's the best thing about it? Have we correct! Yeah. Have we seen Carrie Fisher yet? Yeah. No? Why not? Go. Now, go. No, that's alright. See, I'm excited by that. I'm wearing a Star Wars shirt. My wife, who was somewhere in the back, said, don't wear a Star Wars shirt because it would make me more nerdy than I normally am. I didn't listen, so go figure. And thank you, my shoes are pretty nerdy. I know, yeah, right? Batman shoes, boom. I know, right? I know, and like old school 1989 Batman. Where do you get, again, ask my wife, I have no idea. If I own anything that's in any way nice, cool, or awesome, my wife has bought it for me. Everything I buy is going to look terrible. It's just a fact. So it's something I've got used to, and you know, a good reason to have a beautiful wife. Oh look, hi! It's like I'm on the internet now, from everywhere. I feel very. This is exciting. Hello, hi. So I don't know. What's the best way for you guys for me to do this? I can either, like last time, pretend to tell you about Australia, and I can tell you a bunch of lies about Australia that aren't really true, like about riding kangaroos to work and things like that. I'll be like, no, it really happens all the time. Or I can tell you about Spartacus and the show and how great it was, or I can lie about it and tell you a whole bunch of lies about how bad it was. That could be fun too. Enjoy that. I can tell you about Hercules. Probably won't. It's not nice. I like this microphone's better. Again, sound team, thank you. You're even better than yesterday. Again, yes, isn't that great? He's not even, he's like on his phone, he's probably playing like Candy Crush or something. Level 25, we're doing great. Alright, so or do you want to ask questions? Because that's probably the best way for me to do this, or I'll tell you a bunch of stuff you don't want to know, which should be boring. So has anyone got any really good questions? Okay, we'll start. Anyone got any like mediumly good questions? Like, you know, okay questions, but let's not leave the good stuff early. There's a question down here. Oh, look, see, this is so great. Now I don't have to run around, everybody's happy. Thanks, Mark. Mark's great, by the way. Have we seen Mark in all of these? Hi, how are you? Great. I don't know. You're speaking to it really loudly like this. Hi. Yeah. So what are you going to
in season 2, you had to rescue Navia from the mines.
Correct.
I was wondering if it was as uncomfortable and nasty looking.
Yes! It was awful! That was like the most unpleasant experience in the history of television. I don't know, there are probably a few people that might be here at the convention that would argue with me. I'm sure Carissa would probably say I did some things in Game of Thrones that were pretty hard. But this was awful. So they built like this, they built these mines, and when we thought mines, we thought like mines of Moria kinds of mines. We were like, oh, it's going to be this mine. It's like boom, 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 like echoey and stuff. And it wasn't. It was this mine that was like, cool, let's find Navia in this thing. It's awful. And then they filled it with water and sludge at the bottom of it to make it extra gross. And then, like, it started, I think, so in New Zealand we filmed in the middle of winter, which is cold. I'm sure you guys are familiar with winters. They're quite cold. New Zealand was no different. And so the water, they started off with warm water. They put in like really hot water into these mine things that were gross, which was great for the first half hour of the day until it got freezing cold. And I was like, oh, you haven't thought this out. And so we were in this like freezing cold water in no clothes at all, which is obviously horrible. Sorry ladies, just, yeah, and you're like, oh, could I wear some pants? That'd be great. And then they covered you in like, oh, the mud. This is memories now. I feel like I'm getting like flashbacks. So they cover you in like this mud, but like, you know, you just sort of go, well, just cover them in mud. Sure, no problem. There's nothing bad about mud. It's just dirt with water in it. But they found like some kind of slime thing that looks like mud on camera, because apparently mud on camera looks like something else. I don't even know. I don't understand. Some crazy science. But yeah, so they like cover you in this sort of plasticky, gross paint mud thing, which is like, I feel like you get this, some sort of like Ghostbusters slime pack or something. And it's okay. It's just, it feels disgusting, like covering yourself in a kind of a black sort of butter or something. And it's like, bleh. But it's not terrible for the first few hours. And then, because the lights that you're under when you film make everything really dry, because they're really hot. And then it dries to you, and every time you move, it tears a part of your skin away from it. It's just, it's like, I can't even explain it. I'm trying to think of something like, if you covered yourself in like bandages and like tape, and then just tried to do a dance, it's kind of that feeling. It's awful. So, yeah, the mines were just great. Yeah, I've never been so happy to find Navia in my life. It was unpleasant. Summary. 20-minute conversation, summary, unpleasant. Sorry. All right. Time for one more question. Not really. How many more? Anyone else got a question that I can answer? Whoa, he's so excited. It's nice to see you again. Yes. Hi. Good time begins. Okay. What is your question? I'm Janet Frage. Sorry, German. That's the only language I know besides English. Let me have this. But I don't know very well, so please ask the question in English.
Sorry for my rubbish English.
No, sorry for my rubbish German.
I have never learned English in the school. Okay, my question, 2 parts. The first part, have you any response from Kirk?
Douglas?
Yes.
Yes.
Are you serious? Yes? Really?
Yes.
Yeah. What say this guy?
Okay. I love this story. Thank you. I don't know this man. I didn't know I get into ask this question.
Wait.
2 questions.
Yes.
Yes. What is the second question?
What is the next date for see you in TV?
Excellent question. Both good questions. All right, cool. Answer the first question, which is awesome. I did. We had in the second, my second season of Spartacus, the last one, War of the Damned. Around the same time we were doing publicity for the show, Kirk Douglas, the Kirk Douglas, who's Kirk Douglas, was doing publicity for a book about his experiences on Spartacus and writing it and getting through the Hollywood blacklist and all this sort of stuff. Back in the days of communism and stuff, fun. But so he was publicizing his book, and so some clever person at Stars was like, how about we put those 2 people together? And I was like, that's a great idea. And so I got to meet Kirk Douglas, which is about the coolest thing that's ever happened, besides meeting my wife, sorry. It was, no, don't point to her, she could be anyone. She's terrified now. Don't hurt her, be nice. Yeah, so I met Kirk Douglas, and we got to have a conversation, and he's like the coolest guy in the world. I mean, he's really old, like crazy old, like 96 old. And he's obviously he had a stroke, and he's kind of got better, and he can sort of talk, but he was just the most amazing person, fascinating, hilarious, interesting, supportive, generous. It was just, yeah, he was a really cool dude. So we like sat backstage, and he would tell me about things, and I was just like, tell me more anything, Kirk Douglas. Anything you say is great. And he like signed something for my mother, which is really cool. And then I was on stage, and I got to come out to a stage much like this and be like, hi, I'm Liam McIntyre, and I'm Spartacus. And you're like, yeah, fun, cool, people clapped, it was nice. And then from this side of the stage, this guy's like, no, I'm Spartacus! I was like, correct, you are. And it was amazing. And I had a sword that I presented to him and stuff, and I was like, don't hurt him with the sword. And it was like, yeah, so, yes, and he was very nice. He said I was an excellent Spartacus, which is about the best compliment you could ever get. I was like, that's made my week. And then I said to him, like, I wasn't sure what to do because I was kind of overwhelmed. Like, some people are surprised that people in like the public eye, like people that have been on television shows and stuff like that, still get starstruck. I get starstruck like crazy. And so I was like, that's good. So I wasn't sure what to do. And so I was like, I had a publicist, and I was like, can I I wrote this to Kurt, and I want to send it to him. I don't know how to do that, so I'm going to send you an email, and if you can make that happen, that'd be great. If not, that's fine. Weeks later, he sends me back, I get in the mail this thing from the desk of Kurt Douglas, and it's like a typewriter letter from him saying it was lovely to meet you, all this nice stuff. I was like, it's a typewriter. It's like so, different generations. It was cool. Anyway, there's that. Second question: are you going to see me on television? No, that's it. I'm done. That's it. This is one thing. That's all. No, it's. I hope not. At the moment, there's nothing I can talk about, which is fun. But I'll let you know as soon as I can say that there's some exciting show that I'll be part of. There's been conversations, but nothing I can officially tell you yet. I can lie to you though. I can tell you all these things I'm not on, and they'll be like, yeah, I'm on this show, on that show, it'll be great. But as soon as I can, I'll let you know. I'll send up the bat signal or something and be like, boom, he's in this show. It'll be great. Anyone else have any questions?
Mentioning the bat signal.
Yes.
Would that be something you would be up for?
Yes. Yes, I would definitely be the guy that works the bat signal in the background, where Batman's like, Ben Affleck's like, I'm Batman. And I'd be like, yeah, so that'd be a cool job. I'd do that. Yeah, but if he's like, I'm sick, I couldn't be Batman, I'd be like, alright, I'll be Batman. That would be a fine job to do. There's so many people here, I feel very flattered, thank you. Anyone else have any cool questions? Which was an excellent question, Mark, thank you. See, now I feel like were you first? Maybe not. Anyway, you won.
When you come back to Belgium?
When will I come back to Belgium? What day is it? Well, if they'll have me back next year, I'd come. Belgium's really cool. I feel like I won't have enough time to see it all. I'm going to Bruges. Bruges is meant to be really nice. Is Bruges nice? Yeah! Who's from Bruges? Yeah! Who's from Ghent? Yeah, and it's so far been nothing but cool. So I'm like, fancy buildings and stuff that we don't have in countries that I'm from. I'm like, this house was built before like our country was found. This is cool. And then like in LA, it's just like, is that old? Knock it down, throw it away. So there's nothing in LA is even remotely old. And so you're walking around like, cobblestones, this is cool. Not good for running on though, I found. That's really painful. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I haven't planned that far in advance. I don't know where I'll be next week. I feel like I'm a traveling circus nomad guy. This is the acting life one where you sort of go, cool, I just moved into a house in Los Angeles. How fun. And like last year, we were there for like a month, and then they're like, all right, get out, go to another country. You can go to Bulgaria for like 3 months. I'm like, that's, Beverly Hills, Bulgaria. So you just never know. So I can't give you a day. Maybe it'll be Tuesday. Maybe it'll be next year. I don't know. But I would love to come back. It's been a lovely country, and you've been very hospitable. Thank you so much. Question over here. Lady in red.
I hope you don't hate me for this, but there was this really great Doritos commercial you did, and I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about that.
No, I do hate you already. Yeah. You've used the word great there. Great, I'm no dictionary, but I'm pretty sure the word great indicates something that's good, preferable, amazing, better than normal. Okay, so, for those of you that don't know, close your ears because I don't want you to know. For those of you that do know, you will be aware of the Doritos commercial, which is great. Great commercial. It's just so good. Which involved, so I went to Los Angeles well before I had any kind of career, and you do things you regret. Things happen. Fortunately, mine was minor because it was, just a Doritos commercial that was that's not an official Doritos commercial. Don't be under any estimations that Doritos rang me up and said, can you do a really embarrassing dance for no reason? Great, here's $1 million. That never happened. So I had someone in my acting class who was German, thanks Germany. He was like, hello, well, why don't you come and do a show with me, it'll be fun. And I was like, sure, okay. I'm in LA doing something on television, well, doing something with a camera, I feel important. It was like a submission for the Doritos commercials that they were going to do on the Super Bowl. She didn't win, like, you know. I tried my best. They stuck a green screen, which was like flapping in the wind. It was a bit low budget. And I did a ridiculous dance over and over again, and they stuck different countries behind me in post. It was amazing. I know, I'm still waiting for Doritos to be like, here's your $1 million. As yet, they have not given it to me. But yeah, so if you want to look at me, be far less cool than I am in Spartacus, that's the place you want to be. Hello! My friends brought a Doritos bag. Thank you, friends.
Maybe
we can't be friends anymore.
Maybe your $1 million is in there.
Is it? Maybe it is. Maybe a Nigerian prince really wants to give me $1 million from Nigeria. You know what? If the $1 million is in there, you just keep it. You know what? I'm going to take that chance. Oh, I've offended her. I'm sorry. Doritos is just like, it's just a food I eat. You don't have to eat it. It's okay. It's not official. What? Thank God. All right, I was gonna like stop everything, get out. No, okay, good. Whew. All right, well, everybody's just stay here. Let's not do anything until she gets back. She don't want to miss it. No, it's okay. Anyone else have any questions? Eine Frage? Questions, whatever that is in Flemish. Someone help me out. What's questions in Flemish? Vragen? This is great. I always feel like I know that word. I would ask you a question if he hasn't already got the microphone right behind you, see? So close, so close. You want to ask a question? All right, you are next. All right, one at a time. Oh, easy.
I was just wondering what it was like to film Spartacus, because I thought it was all in front of the green screen and hardly any sets.
It was. I know, it was plenty of sets. That was all it was. Like, there were fun things, because you're shooting in New Zealand, and I don't know if you've seen Lord of the Rings. Of course you have. I mean, like, everybody's seen Lord of the Rings, not just because we're at, like, a convention. And like, New Zealand is basically just a forest. That's all it is. So, like, it's 99% forest. I haven't checked the mathematics on that. It might not be 99% forest. It's probably quite a lot of forest. So we were shooting most of season 2, running through some version of a forest. So what they did was build a forest inside a building, instead of just go outside to where all the forest is. And I'd be like, open the door and be like, why don't we just go there? It's like forest, I can see it right there, let's go. But no, they built like these big sticks which they would turn into trees later on. Probably cost millions of dollars, I don't know. But yeah, so it was a different experience. It was kind of cool. I imagine it was like shooting the episode 1, 2, and 3 of Star Wars, where you're like, none of this is real. But I guess because I went from like theater acting before doing this TV stuff, I guess I'm used to the idea of being like, oh, an audience. I'm going to imagine that it's a big, it's a good imagination. I don't know, like a circus. There you go. We'll make it a circus. So, you know, I guess you just get used to pretending you're in a space and you kind of go, all right, well, like the amount of times that I'd stand on something like this against, like, there'd be a green screen there and they had a camera here and you're like, you're seeing, I don't know, like 1 million Romans and mountains with snow on them and you're like, okay, sure. Go. All right. Romans, got it. Yeah, so I mean, it's a different experience. I mean, shooting on location is sometimes easier because you're like, oh, there they are, Romans, hi. Not necessarily easier or better. It's just an imagination thing, really. It's cool, it was fun. All right, you have a question. You have a question. You have a question. She has to try to ask, but she doesn't speak English. So you can translate her question. Excellent. Great. I'll do it. What was my favorite scene? Okay. Well, to be honest, my favorite scene was probably the very first scene in the whole show, which is Andy Whitfield underneath the arena with his hands sort of half shaking as he's waiting for his fate. I thought that was one of the most amazing kind of scenes. Like when I was shown by my best friend Spartacus for the first time, well before I was ever involved, I remember watching that scene and going, I'm in. Whatever you do from now, I'm good. This is whatever the show is. It's clearly awesome. So yeah, for me, I guess that's my favourite scene in the show, weirdly enough, which I think wasn't even in the original script, if I'm correct in remembering what some director told me once. So don't quote me, because memory is not my favourite thing. But I'm pretty sure that's true. But for me, I mean, for me, my favourite scene is conversely probably the last scene, because it was like the most emotionally draining and important and heartbreaking scene where someone's going, hey, here's the whole show, this is the ending, don't screw it up, which is a lot of pressure. But yeah, it was really fun. I don't know, and it's also like, I guess in that moment where I watched it later and went, if I can do that kind of acting for the rest of my life, things might be okay. I was like really proud of that moment as an actor, which is nice, you know, it's a nice feeling. So when anyone can do something in the job that they love, that they're truly proud of, and aren't sitting there going, oh, I should have done that, or no, it was alright, you know, it was cool for me to be able to sit there and enjoy something that I did, not tear it apart, and try to think of better ways to do it and stuff like that. So that was cool, but I mean, there's so many great moments. I mean, I cut a guy's face off, that's awesome. And I really like that scene with Glabber and Alithia when he finds out she's tried to abort the baby and he throws the little, you know, the thing that was going to kill the baby into the side. And I was like, emotions. And the scene went viral. Has anyone not seen the show? Because I feel like I've ruined the whole show for you. Spoiler alert, like 5 minutes ago, sorry. Yeah, so, I don't know, like it's probably the last one. Let's go with that. Or I also do like a Shoryuken Ryu kind of uppercut thing in the episode before that, which is cool. For the video game nerd inside me, which is pretty big. Anyone else with a question? Hello? Video game question, my favourite. Alright, let's talk video games. One specific question. It's going to be great.
Ubisoft made a game from Spark.
They did? Yes. They sure did. I know, I remember I was there. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you play it?
I did. I don't play it now. This guy. Yes, he's right. I'm like, excuse me a minute, I'm going to play the game. No, it was fun. I remember having a chat with Ubisoft going, please Ubisoft, don't make it a fighting game, make it like a role-playing game. But then again, it would be right? Okay, we're going to talk about this. No. But then I guess if you're Ubisoft, you go, cool idea, Liam, that'd be great. Have you got like $100 million? Oh, you don't? What a shame. Because I imagine making like a Elder Scrolls Spartacus game would cost a bucket of money. But to me, I was just like, make it a cool game. Because, you know, I don't have any concept of money. But, yeah, I mean, it was really fun. Because I'm like, no, such a disrespectful person. Like, I was like, hi guys, got a few ideas, here's 14 pages of notes that they probably were like, yeah, sure actor, that'd be cool, yeah, let's do all these, cool, next. But yeah, no, I haven't played it in a while actually. Do you still play it? From time to time. Yeah, this is true, but now with PlayStation Now, they might be able to play it. I don't know if you can. I don't know if they brought it up yet. See, this is the thing. Sorry, guys. Anyone not play computer games? Because it's going to get real boring for you. I'm sorry. That's cool. That's cool. Cool. Is anyone more cool than that? That for me, that's pretty cool. 3 years. Set a watch right now. 3 years exactly from right now. Synchronized watches. Go. Spice up. Alright, cool. TikTok. Alright, clock's ticking. I'll see you in exactly 3 years. Let's do it right here. Even if nobody else is here and we have to break into this place. Yeah. I can kick things. Boom. Yeah, alright, like that. Does anyone else want to kick some doors with me? Cool, sweet. That's all good. Excellent. Good idea. Anyone else have some video game questions? No. Really? You know, it doesn't have to be. Does anyone have any questions that they're like, oh my god, I'll die if I don't ask this question?
I would like to know something a bit more serious. How was it? Not that serious. How
Yeah.
How he feels in a certain
History question, nice. Yeah, I know. In fact, well, see, man, I had one director on Spartacus that was like this trippy, bearded transcendentalist. I don't know how to translate that word. This, like, I don't know, he probably did a lot of drugs. But yeah, he came out with questions like, you know, hey, you know, Spartacus probably never had seen himself in the mirror because they didn't have mirrors back then. I was like, oh, right. He doesn't know what he looks like. Flash forward like a month later, I was like, who cares? How's that really going to affect my character? Oh, my face, oh, the beard, who knows? Yes, I'm like, let's hope it. But yeah, no, seriously, it was like, you're right, there is very, very surprisingly little documentation on Spartacus. So much so, this loops me right back to like the whole Kirk Douglas conversation, so thank you. I feel like I'm creating a story net, which is that most of what we know as Spartacus and the myth of Spartacus and who Spartacus is entirely created by Trumbo, F.A.C.T.S, and Douglas in the book, the movie, and his portrayal of Spartacus in the movie. So when someone says, oh, Spartacus, he's kind of like a Robin Hood-y kind of character, he's the one that freed the slaves, all that sort of thing. Who knows? Maybe. There's surprisingly little evidence that says Spartacus did, you know, even, again, same director, he made some great stuff. This director also was like, what if there wasn't a Spartacus? I'm like, oh, cool. Then I'd be unemployed. Yeah, and he was like, what if it was like a combination of generals, or not generals, of like major slaves or gladiators from that time, and when they all broke out, they kind of had all these little rebellions, and when they wrote about it 100 years later, which is the earliest documentation, I think, on Spartacus's rebellion, when they wrote about it, they just kind of got all of them and called them one person because one person's scarier than, oh, there was a bunch of people around that did some stuff. So you're like, oh, this one guy did all this stuff and it was terrible and it nearly destroyed Rome. How scary, you should, you know, hurt your slaves more. Great. You know, more chains. So, yeah, for me it's really interesting, that history of who Spartacus was. So I guess for me, it was important because I was replacing Andy Whitfield. I thought he created the heart of Spartacus so fantastically, like emotionally, that I was like, well, I can't copy him and what he does or how he looks or how he moves and all that sort of stuff because that would be weird. But if I can somehow get a similar emotional beat to the thing that he was doing and try to be, you know, if people could go, oh, he's sort of, his soul is in the same kind of place as the way Andy portrayed him, I thought that would be the best way for me to get into the character. So rather than go through history books that have very little information, or go through the Kirk Douglas, but again, Kirk Douglas is kind of the archetype of Spartacus. He's like the baseline of Spartacus, because after that, everyone started to assume, you know, that that's who Spartacus was. He was a really nice guy who wasn't nice, but he was a really brave, strong guy, independent, did all these wonderful things and tried to free people from slavery. But, you know, there's so many theories about all that. But it was, you know, so there's that, which I guess is important to who Spartacus is anyway. But, yeah, trying to tap into that special thing that Andy found, I thought was probably the best way for me to approach it emotionally anyway.
You succeeded.
Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. Hey.